Happy Saturday, guys. We got a great home workout today. This style of workout, we're doing work until we can't complete the number of rounds within a given interval. So, with this workout, have a running clock going, 3 minutes to complete one round of 15 double unders or 15 single skips, 5 deadlifts, and then 5 V-sits or toes to bar. You have plenty of time to finish it in 3 minutes, so you might be resting a lot. You might have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to rest there. 3 minutes to 6 minutes, we're doing 2 rounds. Then 6 minutes to 9 minutes, we're doing 3 rounds, and so on. So every interval, we're adding one more round on top of it. And we're gonna keep going until we can't complete the number of rounds within the given interval. So goal is to try to get into those, into the 15, so 12 to the 15-minute mark, not necessarily rounds. So you have to pick a progression there that will allow you to do that. So my advice would be find something where you can keep these movements unbroken every single time as if you were in that round of the 12 to 15-minute mark. If you choose something a little too heavy, you're gonna kind of fall off early and you're gonna miss the point of the workout. So if you have a barbell, for example, 225 was recommended. Again, you might go a little bit lighter just to make sure you're keeping it unbroken and you're working on that form. V-sits, toes to bar, or even jackknives today would be a good substitute if needed to keep the movements unbroken. Ideally, let's try to finish our round within 30 to 40 seconds, depending on how close your equipment is and how well your transitions are. You want to treat that first round not like a sprint. You want to treat it like as if you were in the round of 12 to 15 or even further than that. What would be your ideal pace when you're in those higher rounds? So you want to pick that pace when you're doing that first round. If you sprint everything, you're going to get tired real fast. So try to find that pace, mimic the same pace as that 12 to 15 minute round. As you progress through that, guys, make sure you're controlling your breathing. Really utilize that rest if you have it to really get some oxygen into your system. Get yourself nice and reset before you attack that next round. It's a good one, guys. I'm going to try this one myself as well. So also, I want you guys to post your scores. Let us know how far you got in this one. As you finish that workout, guys, afterburner, going for some stretching, specifically mobility of that thoracic spine, so that upper half and on. We're going to work on the flexion and extension of that movement, side twists and rotation. So really trying to work on that upper half of the trunk and seeing what our mobility is like, opening up those ranges of motion, especially after all those V-sits, toes to bar, and the deadlifts. A lot of flexion and extension in that area there. So hope you guys will enjoy the afterburner and the workout today. We'll see you guys next for the warm-up.
For the warm-up, we're going to start off with such a great drill here. In your hollow position, doing 5 hip circles. Now, to get into your hollow position, you can start by lowering one vertebrae down on the ground at a time, starting with your lumbar, so your low back. So push your belly button to the floor, then laying down slowly and controlled until you get to mid-back or your shoulder blade area. From there, you can raise your heels. If that's too tough to get into it, another way to get into it is keep your heels up, tuck your chin, roll your chest towards your thighs to round your upper back. If that's hard, you can support yourself with your hand by grabbing your calves behind your knees or your thighs. When you find where your hands you want to keep them, from there you can challenge yourself a little bit further by lowering your heels. Okay, when you find that position that is activating, contracting your core muscles and is challenging you, stay there. From there, you're going to add a hip circle. So you're going to go hip circle for 5, looking at how smooth and controlled that circle is. Okay, then you're going to switch sides. Maybe you want to challenge yourself a little more. You're going to do a nice small circle on both sides. Again, going for 5 on both sides. That's such a great movement because yes, you're activating your core. You gotta stay in control of it. You gotta breathe. But that hip circle starts helping you activate the front side as well. So your hip flexors, your psoas, which is it's a muscle that is underdeveloped or we're not aware of how to activate it. That's a great way. That muscle will help you lift up your thighs, avoid clean up your mechanics, whether you're running, guys, or avoid dropping your chest too much in a squat, or when you're jumping, let's say, onto a box, avoid landing with your chest forward too much, which will keep your stance and your stride or your landing positions a lot lighter on your feet. Okay, so such a great warm-up drill, guys, to do. You're doing, again, 5 on both sides. When you're done that, then single-legged, heels off the ground, single-legged glute bridges. So hip up, back down, hip up, back down. Try not to swing the leg up, just raise your hips, squeeze your bum, back down. Again, going for 15 on both sides. We're doing all that just once. Once you are done that, whether it be dumbbells, kettlebells, a barbell, PVC plank, even bands, we're gonna go into the next part of your warm-up, which is 2 rounds. You're gonna go into your Pendlay Row. So I'm gonna use dumbbells here. Pendlay Row, you're hinging at the hips, so stick your bum back, soften the knees, try to keep your shins vertical, perpendicular to the floor. Drop your chest if you can, without rounding your back, okay, as low as you can. From there, you're gonna retract your shoulder blades, roll it up. If you're using a barbell, try to touch the plates. If you have bigger plates, to the floor. If you're using dumbbells, depending on the size of the dumbbell, you might touch the ground. Mine are a little bit small, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm gonna row, then I'm gonna extend my arm. I'm gonna row, extend my arm. As I'm doing that, I'm activating my hamstrings, I'm keeping my core tight. I'm focused on that shoulder blade movement, but my entire body has to stay under tension to keep my back flat. You're going for 15 of those. Once you're done the 15, then you're going into a sumo stance. Sumo stance, Romanian deadlift. So, widen your stance, hinge at your hips, soft knees, touch that object. Maybe it's the plate, maybe it's a dumbbell, to the floor, maybe it's a kettlebell, okay? If you're rowing it, or with band, sorry, if you're doing it with the band, you would have the band, same thing, don't touch the floor with your arms, okay? From the side, and wide stance, hinge at the hips, touch your object to the floor. As you come up, try to push the floor away to help you activate your rowing. You're doing that 10 repetitions, then you're repeating the rows one more time for 15, finishing off with the 10 deadlifts in that sumo stance again, guys. Have a great warm-up and enjoy your workout.
For those double unders, if you have them, let's work on those double unders today. If you're at that 30 range, for example, see if you can break them up into sets of 20, or if you want to try seeing if you can do bigger sets today, this is the great day to try and start, or a great workout to start doing that. If you don't have double unders, let's go single skips, or we can go for some running skips here, guys. Also, you can use that previous option from before, which is the double tap hop. So you're gonna keep the feet together, you're gonna jump up, double tap your sides for 60 reps total.
A single arm deadlift, we like to place that item in between the feet. So your deadlift width is going to be about where you squat. You can go a little bit wider if you want to get into that sumo stance. That's totally fine as well. And what I want you guys to think about here is we're going to think about that hip hinge. So I'm going to think about pushing that hip back and then drawing my hips down after that. You can see my shin is still perpendicular to the ground. So the difference if I was squatting is my shin would be going a little bit forward. I actually want to push that hip back a little bit, get my hip up in the air a little bit, and then I'm going to hold on to my object. Pushing with the legs, opening with that hip, we're going to push that hip back, and then lower the object again with those legs. I want you guys to squeeze your butt at the top, make sure the abs are tight. Sometimes when we squeeze our butt, we tend to overarch. Let's make sure we don't do that. Also notice how my head and neck stay nice and neutral. So when I'm at the bottom of that deadlift, I'm not looking straight, I'm not looking down, but I'm kind of looking just maybe a couple feet out in front of me. I want the top of my head to my tailbone to stay in a nice and straight line. If you guys have the mobility and you find it easier or a different type of challenge perhaps to stick to your normal deadlift position, so feet under that hip, and we're just going to keep that dumbbell or kettlebell outside the stance, it makes it a little bit trickier, but it might be a good challenge for you today to do that as long as you keep that back nice and flat. That's the most important part. The final move is the V-sit. Remember guys, you can challenge yourselves with a weight between the heel, or you can do a toe to bar if you have a pull-up bar at home. So for the V-sit, first progression, you can just do a sit-up. So you can get a nap mat under your back or a towel, roll up a shirt, whatever. We're just gonna come all the way up, touch the shoes, come back down. You can use your arms. Those are a bit too easy for you. For 3, it's probably gonna be a bit too easy. You can switch to a jackknife. So in a jackknife, we start off in that hollow body position. The knees come in towards the chest. The V-sit is very similar, except now we're keeping our legs locked out, and we're trying to bring our arms overhead and then bring the hands in towards the toes. If you don't touch the toes, that's okay. You're just gonna try to get as close as you can, and you're gonna try to keep everything nice and straight.
All right guys, we're here for the afterburner. We're gonna do some thoracic mobility here. So find yourself a ball or something that's soft that you can kind of rest your back on and almost arch over it. Don't pick something too hard there, it's gonna feel painful in the back. That pivot point, we want it to be at the middle of our back. So we're gonna use that object to pivot at that point. So I'm gonna use this med ball here, I'm gonna lie back onto it, and I'm gonna try to pivot at that middle point of my back. From here, once I'm in that arch position, I'm gonna get my arms overhead, so behind my back, the back of my head I mean. From here we're going for 10 flexion extension reps here. So we're gonna kind of let ourselves go back, extending as much as we can, and then pulling back in as much as we can. We're gonna be doing 10 reps here, nice and slow. Again, these are not for time or anything like that. We're just trying to open up that back and that thoracic spine there. From there, we're gonna go into some side twists. So same position. This time we're gonna kind of bring our elbow towards our hip and then back in again, then switch and do it on the opposite side. You'll notice that you'll feel tight on those lats. You might need to work on a little bit more mobility in that section if you need to there. If you find that you're really tight when you're going down, especially on the opposite side. But we're gonna go again, 10, alternating, as you're in that arch position, okay? Once you're done that, we're gonna go for rotations to finish off. So still again, mid-back is that anchor point there. You're gonna twist and look towards the floor, back into that center position, same thing, twist. And always try to move that whole upper body towards the direction that we're twisting towards. So 10 reps of everything guys, take it slow. You can use a pillow. You might need to stack a couple of them, make sure it's not too hard on your back, and you're twisting at that middle point of your back there. That'll be where your thoracic spine meets, so make sure it's at that point there. Other than that guys, hope you guys enjoy the mobility in the WOD. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the next workout.